Hello and welcome to episode number 2 of the Chamber Connect podcast, brought to you by the Huron Chamber of Commerce. My name is Colin Carmichael. I'm the Executive Director of the Huron Chamber of Commerce, and I am joined today by Jeff Bauer, who is a co-owner, I guess, of Royal LePage Heartland Realty. And Jeff, I did it again. I have this habit of tripping over that name. So maybe I'll just then flip straight to you and let you talk about your business, since I can't seem to even say the words properly.
Thanks, Colin. Yeah, it's great to be on the Chamber Connect podcast, and it is Royal LePage. I understand, you lived in the province of Quebec for a while, so it's an understandable mistake, and you're forgiven every time. It's not a big deal. So
every time, because it happens every time.
Yeah. So Royal LePage Heartland. Yeah. So I'm co-owner, manager of Royal LePage Heartland. We've got offices throughout Huron County in Wingham, Exeter, Goderich, Clinton, and Seaforth, with approximately 40 agents servicing those areas and beyond. Our agents kind of work most of southwestern Ontario, with different agents having different sections and geographic areas that they are comfortable working in. We've got 4 full-time admin and 1 part-time admin that help us with, whether it's our advertising or listing input, processing deals, bookkeeping, all those sorts of things. So our business does have a kind of wide swath of what we do. Personally, as one of the broker owners, I'm managing the day-to-day for specifically our Goderich office, and then bigger picture stuff along with my partners Rick and Matt for the brokerage firm in general. And then there's not enough of that to go around, so we do sell real estate. Is how we make our living and put food on our tables for our families, by selling real estate. So I'm also a salesperson, so I sell recreational, agricultural, residential development property throughout Huron County. Specifically for me, I do try to focus in the Goderich area, but that's our deal.
Good. So you do cover, I guess, essentially the entire county of Huron, and I mean beyond, I suspect as well, but you do have a presence throughout the county.
Yeah. So our reach typically would get us out into Perth, down into Lambton a little bit. We've got some agents that reside down near Grand Bend, Exeter, some of the agents there, and even some of the agents here in our Goderich office will work as far out as London or Kitchener. If they're comfortable and understand those markets, then we're more than willing to support them in doing that. And the brokerage model itself, we are the largest brokerage in Huron County, with our 40 or so agents. And we've got a wide selection of different agents, whether they be focused more on the agricultural stuff. We've got some agents that almost exclusively deal in agricultural. We've got some agents that mostly focus on the commercial side of things, and multi-unit residentials and those sorts of things. But the vast majority of our transactions are in resale residential properties, which is kind of what everyone pictures when they think of their real estate. Typical real estate agent is going into people's homes and helping them list and sell, and then helping buyers find the right place and go through the processes of submitting offers and getting things closed and eventually passing the keys along.
Right, because most of your life is paperwork, right?
It's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of paperwork. That's not the most fun part. The most fun part is meeting the people, for me anyways, is meeting the people, figuring out what their goals are, whether they're buyers or sellers, if they're if they're downsizing or upsizing and that sort of thing, and really pinpointing those needs, which is achieved through communication. So having the ability to communicate with our clients and really like drill down into what they're looking for and what their goals are. So that's where communication is a huge piece of the puzzle for people that are in the business. And as with any business, you know, if you can be a solid communicator, then you can express what it is that you're trying to do, whether you're trying to sell something to somebody or whether you're trying to you know, help them with a service or something like that. Being able to communicate in those sorts of ways is important, like generally for any sort of business owner.
Yeah, so I want to pick your brain on kind of the real estate, the state of real estate currently in it, because it has been a few years of ups and downs and some weirdness. Before I do that, though, I want to just point out to our viewers at home this empty square over my left shoulder, and that space is reserved for a sponsor for this podcast. So we are looking for someone to help offset the costs of doing this podcast and just kind of help the chamber generally in terms of operational costs. And so that space is open if anyone's interested in being the presenting sponsor of the Chamber Connect podcast. And if someone's out there listening and that sounds like something they'd be interested in doing and getting mentioned on every single episode of the show, get in touch with me. Royal LePage Heartland Realty, see I said it right that time, is also a presenting sponsor. So you've been the presenting sponsor for our corporate challenge for the last 3 years since we brought it back 3 years ago. And this year now you've become one of our cornerstone sponsors of the chamber and helping us do the work that we do. So this might be a good opportunity maybe for you to just talk a bit about that and your decision to be a sponsor, kind of go above and beyond just the membership dues and help us do what we do.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely we've for years. So I've been licensed and whatnot for about 13 years now. And once I realized, this was before I was even in management, once I realized what some of the stuff that the chamber does in terms of business to business networking and just being connected to the business community, once I realized what that kind of means for one's business, I was totally into it. So I would attend the events, go to the golf tournament, go to the Spirit of Success Awards, the Business After 5, those sorts of things where you can just get out there and meet other business owners and really, chat about what's happening in their business and in their market. And I've found a great deal of value in those events. And I realize as a member, participating financially in making sure that those events can happen is something that needs to be done, because you can't do these things without financial support. So Royal LePage Heartland is proud to be a cornerstone sponsor of the Huron Chamber of Commerce, and we look forward to continuing to do so with the corporate challenge. And lots of benefits to being a cornerstone sponsor. Chat with Colin about it, and it made a lot of sense for us because we were finding ourselves, okay, what's the tickets for this? What's the blah 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 for that and everything? And Colin was able to put together a nice package for us that our cornerstone sponsorship would cover, and we just cut him one check at the start of the year, and we don't have to be bothered again. So it's really handy to be able to do that. So I imagine if somebody were sponsoring the Chamber Connect podcast, they don't not only get the advertising on that little square there, but they would experience some additional benefits from their chamber membership.
There are always additional benefits. One of which is being a guest on the podcast, and so there you go. That's But yeah, sponsorship is really important to the chamber. I think a lot of people don't realize A, that we're a nonprofit, and B, that we don't take any government funding at all. So all of our revenue comes from our members and sponsors, and we appreciate all of the support that we get from our members and sponsors and folks like you. So let's turn now to the real estate market, to the sector itself, and maybe just bring us up to speed if folks haven't been in the market lately, or
Yeah.
things got weird over COVID, and then there was a bit of a roller coaster there for a little while, I know. And so,
Yeah.
so where are we at now? Are we back to quote unquote normal, or is there ever going to be a normal?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question because, so as I mentioned, I was licensed in 2012. So that's where I can speak to historically in terms of the market. But I do feel that having been around since before 2017 specifically, because that 2017 was sort of where we started to see a pretty significant spike in both pricing and sales numbers in our area here. And that's where we feel like Goderich and Huron County sort of started being identified as a destination for those that were coming from, the Kitchener-Waterloo region, GTA, London, those sorts of areas. So from 2012 until 2017, the market was in a fairly balanced state, where the number of homes that was for sale was ample enough to supply options and opportunity for different buyers. And it was probably a little bit of a buyer's market at that time. Buyer's market meaning that the buyers kind of held the cards and were able to negotiate deals on homes and kind of pick and choose what they wanted with any number of conditions and whatnot. Once 2017 came and the market started seeing some money coming in from the city, which was elevating the property values because they'd be selling something worth more in those urban areas, that started to push the market up. Sales numbers increased and the market value of homes increased. And this reached its apex during the COVID-19 crisis, where people were trying to get out of the city in herds and coming to areas like this, and discovering the lifestyles that were here, the fresh, clean air, and the population density being such that it's just a lot more comfortable. So we saw that reach its apex of the market probably in 2022 was where everything kind of reached its very top. And then following that, there's a combination of things that have happened that have sort of softened the market to a degree. So the average prices have dropped only a little bit here compared to, say, the condo market in the GTA. Our market is fairly well protected here, not only because there's a limited number of homes, like when you look at it on the macro, but once the area got discovered, Tom and Betty move here from Guelph, and then their friends want to come here because they came and visited and they love it, right? So once the area was discovered, you can't kind of unring that bell. So the value proposition here is still such that somebody from the city would be able to sell their house, buy something that would be equally comfortable for them for a little bit less money. So the delta there between their sale price and their purchase price still makes sense for them to come here. Now it's not as big as it used to be, so that delta has changed, but people still do see the value in coming here just for the lifestyle, right? So to wrap it up to where we are today, we are back in sort of that pre-2017 buyer's market where there is more homes for sale than there is active buyers. So with that comes longer days on market for properties, months of inventory increases, and you have buyers that are able to really do the due diligence. So they're able to include specific conditions on their purchase, which wasn't possible during the crazy times during COVID. They're able to look at a number of houses and then pick what they want or wait, which we see a lot of buyers kind of just not ready to pull the trigger on something because they can. And that's something that we haven't seen in 5-6 years. And also, there's a lot of uneasiness just in general in the economy. So people deciding to pull the trigger on something when there's question marks around interest rates and cost of living and administrations and the stuff happening south of the border, all that stuff, right? It creates a bit of a challenge for people that are making the biggest investment of their life, when it's also costing more for them to put food on the table. So we are seeing places still selling. People still need to move. People still need to sell, and people need to buy. Places that are priced properly and are in good shape for what the value proposition is, they're still selling. And many of them are still selling quite quickly. There's a bit of a chess match that's happening between sellers and buyers in the market in general, whether sellers are going to crack or whether buyers are going to bite the bullet and pay what the sellers want to get. But it's an interesting time in real estate. I would anticipate that this sort of market will continue through 2025. I don't see anything crazy happening. That would be barring a significant interest rate decrease by the Bank of Canada, which none of the analysts are really foreshadowing. So we'll probably see a similar market to now for the next 4 to 6 quarters. And then only time will tell what the market's going to do.
You touched on it, and so I just want to go back for a second to the, for lack of a better term, the tariff war with the U.S. and the uncertainty, which is really the most has the most impact is that uncertainty, and so we are up to another deadline on August 1st. That tariffs may or may not be coming. Who knows? So I'm curious, and I know that it takes some time for when you're looking at real estate data for things to kind of bubble through and 3-month rolling averages and those kinds of things. But even anecdotally, have you seen an impact? Of that uncertainty, maybe scaring people off from making that investment because suddenly their good stable job doesn't feel so stable, or those kinds of things.
There's definitely been examples of people with exactly that. They have employment, but even their bosses saying things like, "Hey, don't make any. You still have a job, but don't make any crazy life plans right now." Things like that. Also, on the flip side, we've had a few people from south of the border reaching out. A couple of examples where one individual is like a Canadian citizen but married to a U.S. citizen living down there and looking to procure land in Canada if they were to need it in the future. So there's definitely been examples of that. If there was, we're a region that is powered by a number of large employers, and if there was something that were to happen on any of those fronts, it would be a very significant hit to the local economy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait for the August 1st deadline to pass and see what happens there. And that's conversations I have with business owners across the county is it's the uncertainty, and you can't make strategic decisions, whether that's for your business or whether that's for your housing, and your major life decisions, when there's so much uncertainty, and there's nothing that we can do to mitigate that beyond just being very thoughtful about major decisions, again, whether that's your business or your personal life. So, but that's of course where the value of a realtor comes in to help individuals navigate those decisions, and so I don't know if maybe as we wrap up here, if you want to share, I mean, how best to get in touch with you or one of your agents. If someone is thinking about a move, how best to get in touch with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. So you can follow us on our socials, Royal LePage Heartland. RLPheartland.ca is the website. It breaks down the agents from the different offices. You can check out all of our listings and pick an agent. You can just give me a call. You can meet me at one of the chamber events and just come up and talk to us. We got a good thing going over here. One thing that I meant to mention also was because of it was kind of to do with the market, but also the Coast Goderich development. So
Sure.
that's one thing that we've never had in the market really since I've started, anyways, was stock of new homes being built in a subdivision or development. So that's an interesting thing that kind of changes the numbers a little bit too. When someone looks at realtor.ca and sees that there's 80 houses for sale in Goderich, 12 of those might be new builds, 5 of which might not even be started. They're just out there for advertising. So that does sort of skew our listing numbers to a degree. But it's been interesting out there over the time of the, seeing when we first started, when things were crazy, and then to navigate through that while keeping hay coop construction and all of their sub trades busy out there and finding buyers. It's been an interesting thing to navigate and to see play out, because we'd never done anything like that before in town. So we had never worked with a new home development. So it was a big learning curve for us and for everybody, but people are still buying out there. I know there's a lot of rumors going around that things are all stopped out there, but we've still got people buying out there at Coast. There's lots of beautiful lots still available. Some of the best views in the region along the trails there in Coast Goderich. But I appreciate you having me on here, Colin. We do love being members of the Chamber and Cornerstone sponsors. And I wish you all the luck with the podcast. If you can get anybody else that's half as interesting as me to come and talk on it, I'm sure it's going to be a huge success.
Well, I mean, Phil and Ali, Maine from the A Life That's Good podcast is a tough act to follow, I must say, but you performed admirably, and but that's really what this podcast is really about, is giving that opportunity for our members to share a bit about their business, share some of their expertise, as you have today. And we'll also have other guests that aren't members, but maybe from outside Huron County, who have expertise that'll be useful for our members as well. So I'm looking forward to where this thing goes. And so thanks to you for being guest number 2. And I will see you on the golf course today, actually, when this episode comes out.
Oh my God, I gotta put
You
my
and I,
golf clothes on.
your tee off time was no. Because it's our annual charity golf tournament, and I know you have a team in, and there'll be lots of folks out playing golf at Woodland Links. Also a member of the Chamber. You mentioned Hay Coop Construction, also a member of the Chamber. So it's always nice when all these Chamber folks are doing stuff together and working together. So with that, thanks, Jeff, for coming on the show, and I am sure even after the golf tournament today, I'll see you at a Chamber event soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.